Have you made a series of extremely bad financial decisions that have ruined you? Well, I can't help you with that, but what I'm gonna do in this video is show you what it's like when you make smart financial decisions. What's up? My name is Forrest. I invest this stuff. I think that everybody should too. And I believe that so much that I started a YouTube channel showing me investing every single day. That's right, every single day. I didn't start with $60, I actually started with $50, and then we found $10 more. In this video, I'm gonna show you what it looks like to do a little bit of financial planning. First, we're gonna jump into my account on Robinhood on my iPad, and then we're gonna jump over into Google Drive using the free spreadsheet tool over in Google Drive, right? So Google Drive, you can go make a Google account, open a spreadsheet, and I'm gonna show you how to make a quick little, widget in real time. Actually didn't prep to do this, I just thought of this. So I was like, what do I wanna do this week? And that's what we're gonna do. The whole point of this channel, again, is to show you guys how easy it is to get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump in, stop wasting time with clickbait, and we're gonna take a look at my iPad, which just started recording right there. Okay, my account currently at $10,571.02. Love the extra pennies. 17 cents of buying power. So how this works right now is that I invest $300 every week, so $300 gets auto-deposited every single week. That's exactly what you should be doing, okay? Figure out a number. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, maybe when you get paid, right? Pro tip, by the way, pay yourself first. One of the simplest ways to do this. So instead of paying yourself last, take some money out of every single paycheck and put it somewhere, long-term savings first. For me right now, for this account, this isn't my main account, by the way, this is just the one for YouTube, I do $60 a day. It comes out of the $300 a week that I put in, and then I dollar cost average into the market. So what do I dollar cost average into? I average into this position of VOO. So VOO is the Vanguard S&P 500 ETF. It's currently at $554.09. So let's take a look at my position. I have 11.72 shares. Market value is at $6,498.64. Average cost of $525, and it is 61.49% of my portfolio. It actually just dipped down a little bit. Total return on this position is $300. Okay, so of my over $10,000 portfolio at this point, it is 61% of it, and I'm up $300. Really cool. The rest of the things in this portfolio, again, if you haven't seen the videos in this series, I haven't really changed much. I've bought some more shares of Rivian. I've bought some more Rivian $40 calls that expire in January. And I have a few other shares that are holdovers from when my community was telling me to buy things. And 99% of what they told me to buy was absolute crap. So I started selling some of those. All these other shares was interesting because I'm buying an ETF, right? A lot of these are things that I already own in the ETF. So eventually I'll sell out of all of them. I just have them to make this a little bit more interesting. But if we go down to my Rivian position, this is an actual position that I'm building. Sometimes my $60, I'll take the whole $60 and I'll put it in Rivian. The other $60 I put in VOO. Why? I'm really bullish on Rivian. I like them. They're a US EV company. I like their story. And with everything that Elon is doing with Tesla, I think he's just opening up the market to more US competition, purely because people don't like them, right? I don't like them. I don't care if you like them. This isn't that video. Do whatever you guys want. Buy whatever car you want. Don't really care, honestly. I like Rivian, so I'm buying Rivian. Cool. So, $10,569. Why am I doing this? You're probably already making excuses, right?
Forrest, you're doing this. You got $60 every day. I only got $10. I'm broke, and everybody in my family's broke, and I hate being alive.
Well, that sucks. Can't help you with that. But for those of you who aren't quitters and pathetic losers at life, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at what it means, again, to take control. So go open up Google and go to, you can type in just investor, let's look here. Actually, just do compound interest calculator. Type that into your search bar, and you wanna use the one from investor.gov. Okay, now you see me do this in ChatGPT. We're gonna use this calculator just so we get consistent answers. If ChatGPT will do a good job, I've noticed using it though that it will make some assumptions, and if you don't know how the underlying math works, it can be actually more confusing than useful. So, and that's for AI in general. This is gonna give you the same answer every time when you use the same inputs. So let's go ahead and do an initial investment of $0. And let's assume you're one of those people who's like, I don't have a lot of money. Cool, I didn't have a lot of money either when I started with life. I make more money now because I've been working on it for a while. That's just generally how it goes, okay? So you don't have a lot of money now, eventually you'll get some more money. That's how it goes, guys, okay? Right, so we're gonna start initial investment at $0. Our monthly contribution, let's say you're doing, I don't know, $5 a day. Okay, what does $5 a day come out to? Let me open up my calculator, my handy dandy calculator. 5 times 25, okay? You're doing $125 a month. Okay, $125 a month We'll do our monthly contribution, and let's say you do that for 40 years, say 45 years, okay? Now, you can change this for however old you are or retirement or whatever. I'm just gonna do 45, and we'll use an 8% interest rate. Why 8%? Good question. You're thinking 8% is a good estimation of the S&P 500 returns based off of previous returns, okay? It's the best number we've got. Some people use 10. I like to be more conservative, I use 8. If you put 10 in, the numbers are gonna be bigger. 8's a good number. Hit calculate. Okay, 45 years, I'll have $579,000 if I was doing $125 a month. So even for those of you who can only do $5 a day, okay, this really is that thing where people are like, hey, buy one less coffee and all of that. It really does add up, guys, right? You can, instead of buying one less coffee, instead of buying the Starbucks coffee, go and get the Amazon, not disposable coffee, coffee's not reusable. Go and get the Amazon coffee. Cool, right? Now, let me show you what it looks like with my math. I'm doing $300 a week. 300 times 4 is 1,200. 1,200 a month, okay? Over the next 45 years, that's gonna give me 5.565 million. Would be really cool if I did this series for 45 years and was up to 5.56 million. I might. That's a really long time to do a YouTube series, those guys. I might be dead before then. Okay, cool. So this is why we're doing this. Now you know why it's so important to start investing. Okay, for those of you who are still with me, we're gonna go over to Google Drive. All right, we're gonna name this spreadsheet Math. So now we got a cool spreadsheet, and my goal with this is I want to figure out how much money I can make based off of a bunch of, different values. So what I'm gonna do here is I need to figure out how I wanna design my table. I'm literally doing this in real time, guys, so bear with me. We're gonna edit this down. So I want this to be monthly input or monthly contributions, okay? And we'll do this column as number of years, and then this will be the value, okay? We also want our interest rate. We'll put this over here. Interest rate, we're gonna do 8%. Cool. So we got 8% there. Now, I've also never used this on the iPad, so this is gonna be really interesting, actually. Okay, so for this column, I want to auto space it. That works just by double clicking. And what I want to do is, let's just enter a bunch of values for monthly contributions. So let's go all the way from $10 to, let's do increments of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, we'll go 100, 200, 400, 500, and then we'll go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, okay? So these are a bunch of different values that we might contribute on a month, all the way from just $10 a month, which isn't much, all the way up to 3,000 a month, which is a lot, okay? If you're older in life and you haven't been doing this, and this applies to a lot of people that I know, they make good incomes and they haven't been investing out of fear, this is really gonna show you how you can even catch up, okay? So let's do 30 years, right? Let's assume that we lost some time. We'll do 30 for all of these values, right? So let's extend this to 30. And then we need to figure out how to do the math for the value here. Now, I'm curious if I can get the function for compound interest here. I'm gonna look that up. So let me ask ChatGPT how to do the compound interest calculation. Actually, let's just swap over to ChatGPT. ChatGPT. All right. Hi chat, so I have a spreadsheet where I'm doing compound interest calculations across certain time intervals. I need you to give me the formula to put in the cell for the compound interest calculation. This should give me the total value. I should be able to select a cell for the number of years, as well as select a cell that is my monthly contribution, assume that it compounds annually. All right, we're gonna let ChatGPT do its thing, put that in, and all right. So it gives me a nice explanation. It basically says future value is already a function probably. So the annual rate, years, monthly contributions times 12, initial principal minus the initial principal is 0. So the annual rate is the annual interest rate expressed as a decimal. So 5% is 0.05. Years is the number of years for which investment will grow. Select a cell where you want a certain number of cells. Monthly contributions times 12. Since contributions are monthly, multiply them by 12 to get the annual contribution. Initial principal. Okay, and this indicates that interest is compounded annually. Okay, so let's go ahead and copy this, right? And what we can actually do, hopefully, is put these side by side. Can we do split view? Cool. All right. So go ahead and select this, equals future value. And so the rate is going to be 0.08. That's 8%. The number of periods is going to be number of years here. Then we need the present value. So I want the negative monthly contributions times 12. All right, that's a little weird. All right, so we have the number of periods, the payment amount, the monthly contributions times 12. So it's going to be negative this value times 12. I'm not sure why that's negative in this calculation. And then we want the present value, which is going to be 0. And you can select this over, so we're just going to do 0. And then we want the annual compounding. Okay, boom. All right, so that gives us 13,593. So let's go ahead and use the autofill function, hopefully, to see what this gives us. Cool. So across 30 years, and we can check the formula on all of these. So we got 0.8, so it's B5. Yep, these values are all the same. All right, so if we do a longer time investment, let's add my contributions to this table and make sure it adds up to what we found in the other value. So 1,200 times 45 years gives me 5.565 million. The math is the same. It works out. So you literally saw me figure that out in real time. This is how you can do it, guys. So what's really, really cool about this is now that we have an interesting table where we can do these values. So we'll do 1,000, let's do 1,200, let's do 1,500, let's do 2,000, okay, 3,000. Cool, right? So this will be 30, 30, 30, cool. All right, leave that there. We don't need ChatGPT anymore. And then what we want to do from here is autofill this some more just by dragging it down and selecting autofill. Cool. So we've got a couple $1 million just by changing these values here. Oh, I also realized I hard-coded the 8%. I could have selected the cell over here. It doesn't matter. You can do that yourselves. So what I want to do is actually graph this. So I have my data selected. I hit the plus sign, and I want a chart. Cool, column chart. No, we want a line chart. Number of years and the value is in red. Can we get a multi-series line chart? What does this look like? Value versus monthly contributions. So let's look at, this chart is actually missing some values because what we actually want to look at is the total value with each line, and we want the horizontal axis to be time in years. All right, so it's giving us a little bit different of a value than what I want it to look like. This is kind of what it should look like if the bottom axis was time. Can I move this thing? So let me move my chart. All right, so play around with this. I'm not gonna fix this. We need to add another data set. We need to add another data set for time. Hopefully though, this little exercise was useful in showing you how simple it is to see what's possible, right? So investor.gov will show you one value, and from month to month, you can play around with, what your contributions would look like and the number of years. For example, I'm doing $1,200, let's just change this right now, for 30 years, but maybe I get up to $2,000 and I want to do $2,000 and I do that for the next 40 years, okay? Now that value updated to 6.2 million right there, 6.2 million. So if you're somebody who's catching up, or maybe you can do $5,000, right? But you only have 20 years, okay? 2.7 million. So it's still a good chunk of change. It's never too late to start taking control of your finances, guys, right? 2.7 million obviously isn't 6, 7. It's not the really big numbers if you started sooner, but it's still a good amount, okay? Any amount of money, even if you're in the $10 a month case, Okay, there are people who are 30 years ahead of you who don't have $13,000, and that's the way that you really need to think about it. Stop thinking about where you are today. Where you are today is based off of what you did yesterday and the day before. And if you're gonna be alive tomorrow, then you need to start taking action today so that future you can reap the benefits. Okay, you can't compare yourself today to what other people have today if you weren't doing what they did yesterday. Life just doesn't work like that, right? Use time to your advantage. Right? If you're gonna be around here, or your kids are gonna be around, or anybody you care about is gonna be around, or if you just like having money, right? A little bit of all three options. Start doing this. Nonetheless, not a perfect video, but got my point across. Hopefully, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Peace.
I'm never gonna look back, 'cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change, slowly take a step to